The Greens must be rubbing their hands together at the moment and saying, wow, petrol's gone up, this is great for the environment. So what's the Greens' plan to combat petrol prices for working families?
Well, no, we're not rubbing our hands with glee. It's exasperation that the big parties have failed, as they have around the world. But at least the Germans have streeted the field here with fast, efficient public transport. They've got a carbon tax on fuel. They're making sure that the people who consume the most fuel are actually paying taxes to help those who need to transfer across to cheaper forms of transport and who are having a hard time of it. There's not even a whiff of that here in Australia. And look at the car manufacturing.
It's a very different country to Germany, though.
I'm sorry?
Australia's a very different country to Germany.
Oh, no, Australia isn't. We're sharing this world. We should be at the front with the best environmental technology, and we failed to do it.
But Bob, should petrol prices be going up or should they be going down?
Petrol prices are going up. Petrol prices are going up despite the fossil fuel industries in this country getting $9 billion in taxpayer subsidy. What about we put those subsidies into the public's ability to transform across to forms of transport that are not going to damage our planet, getting people to and from work?
Tanya, do you think...
Yes. Can I ask a simple question, a non-politician? Tanya,
Of course you can.
I understood in the papers that I've been reading in the last few weeks, that few days, that Fuel Watch actually has worked in WA, that in fact petrol prices are lower on average over the last 5 years than they are on the eastern seaboard. Is that correct or not?
On average, they're about 2 cents a litre lower. But the point that Bob's making about public transport as well, it is worth reminding people that we've put aside $20 billion in an Infrastructure Australia fund. That's not all about public transport, but it is about building some of that major infrastructure that we do need in our cities. We agree that we do need
and railways and railways.
Okay,
I want to go back to our audience because they get to ask the questions, not our panellists, generally speaking. OK, well, we've got a question right down the front here, and gentleman in the front row with a blue shirt.
Yes, my question is to, particularly to Tanya. Here in New South Wales, we have a state government that's for years has promised and put in these big plans for transport, has promised, money for it, not delivered. You talk about transport, but if your own state colleagues can't deliver it, how do you expect the rest of Australia to believe that you can do that as well?
Well, they've had essentially no help from the federal government for 12 years when it comes to this infrastructure in cities. And they have built new public transport, the light railway to the western suburbs. I've caught that plenty of times. There have been projects, new projects along the way, and I think with a commitment from the federal government to work in partnership with the states when it comes to the major infrastructure in capital cities, I think that task is just a little bit easier.
OK, I'm going to take a question from our website. It was posted on our website by Lynn Smith from Battery Point in Tasmania. And she says, she picked up Bob Brown's rhetoric here, probably agreeing. Talk about moving the deck chairs on the Titanic. The embarrassment is that the Liberals are focusing on petty details like the removal of minimal excise and taxes. Why isn't the opposition targeting Labor on the need for more sustainable energy solutions? Exactly. Tony Abbott.
Well, we are. I mean, one of the most outrageous measures in the budget was the means test on solar panels. I mean, solar panels are an important part of our solutions. The Howard government put in an extensive subsidy on these panels, and it's now been means tested by the Rudd government in ways that's virtually going to stop that subsidy coming
with respect, no, just hang on a second. With respect, that was a question about what you're proposing here, which is this minimal cut to the excise tax, which will save 5 cents a litre. And the Prime Minister today, right or wrongly, said that would save the average family $1.50 a week. Do you accept that to start with?
It would be quite a bit more than that, but...
give us a sense of what it would be for an average family.
It depends. It depends how much car use. It depends how much car use. It depends how much car use you've got. But if you're fair income, any government which is fair income about reducing the price of petrol has only one option, and that's to cut the tax, which is what we're proposing. And it highlights the fact that there is this contradiction at the heart of the Rudd government's approach. They can't decide whether they want petrol to be more expensive to help the environment or less expensive to help the consumers. And what do you think, Tanya? More expensive, less expensive?
We're putting downward pressure on petrol prices.
So you want it to be less
because
expensive?
Yes.
Well, what about the carbon
That's pretty
tax?
clear. It is
Well, what about
very
the carbon
tough
tax?
on family budgets at the moment, Tony. I can't believe you don't understand that.
OK. All right. We've got lots of people with their hands up here, and we have covered this question quite a bit. I'm actually going to move on to another subject. And our next question comes from Jennifer Turpin.
My question is regarding the artist Bill Henson and the controversy surrounding his work. Bill Henson's an artist who's working with the mysteries and the inviolability of the human body, as many artists have over many centuries. And my question is, why is this his artistic exploration of a human reality, why is that now interpreted as obscene and perverse?
Well, I'm going to throw that straight to Louise Adler, because you were one of the signatories to the open letter to the Prime Minister this week, all people from the 2020 arts stream. Let's hear from you first.
Oh, well, I thought we'd have Tony respond, in fact, but you're in charge. Because I actually agree.
Evidently not.
No, of course you are. Of course you are.
We'll swap seats later.
No. There's no need for that. Well, I actually think it's a very good question, and I am really perturbed and concerned that we seem to be in a climate of such hysteria around an artist who's been nationally and internationally regarded so highly, that all of a sudden now, after 15 to 20 years of making what I personally think, and it's only a question of, that's a matter of personal taste, is actually magnificent work. So I think to myself, what is it that's prompted us suddenly to have a frenzy of anxiety around the representation of teenagers, around the body as it moves from childhood to adulthood? And if my own view is, if this is being described as pornography now, I'm really dazzled by that proposition, befuddled by that proposition. If pornographers are going into our national galleries and our state galleries and being aroused by Bill Henson or by Caravaggio or by Monet or by Gauguin, I think we really have a problem. We have a sick society on our hands. And I don't think we are all that sick. And I think the moral panic, the police rush to anxiety and to charge him with child pornography, and that's what he risks being jailed for 10 years for doing this work. Seems to me extraordinary overreaction.
Let me ask you a question. The parents of these child models have been called into question here. Would you allow your daughter to pose naked for a Bill Henson photograph?
I think she's watching and she'll be horrified. But she will forgive me. She will forgive me. I thought she was exquisite. I think the age of the models is somewhere ranging from 12 to about 16, 17. I thought that at 12 and 13 she had the most exquisite body. Privacy and modesty then came upon her. If I trusted the artist, and I know Bill Henson and I would trust him, I think he has the highest of motives and the greatest of integrity, I would have been very comfortable. But it would have been her choice, in my view. I would have proposed the question to her, and it would have been for her to say, I feel comfortable or I don't feel comfortable. He is a serious artist. I think his work and his thinking about this... I mean, if anyone could get... it's just mind-boggling to think that anyone could get titillated by the work. It's incredibly poignant, moving, quite dark, quite bleak work. It's actually, there's nothing to be aroused by. I mean, I'm not a chap. Maybe chaps have a different response to this. But as a woman, I can't see how one might be aroused by these industrial wastelands and these teenagers, thoughtful, reflective, meditative, highly staged photographs. They're painterly, in fact. How one could be titillated or provoked by.
Well, I find that actually interesting. I find it amazing. I'm a father of 7 kids. I have 7 kids. When I bath my kids, I also think to myself, how do people find this titillating? How do they find this exciting? So I don't think that's the real issue. I think the issue here is that we've got a society, and we've got a society that is concerned about childhood and about the issues of childhood and how we bring children up. I come from an Aboriginal community, and if you look at the statistics that's been coming out lately, you see that it's dreadful statistics in regard to how Aboriginal people are. The majority of Aboriginal people have been sexually abused as children. So I think that it's not black and white. It's not an easy question to answer, but I think it does raise questions, and one of the jobs of artists is to raise questions. So when you raise questions and get challenged, I think that's legitimate to be challenged as well. And I think society needs to address these things and needs to deal with them.
Warren Mundine, let me just Let me just ask you this. Do you think that these widespread revelations of child sexual abuse in remote Aboriginal communities predominantly and other communities, do you think